Feel Good for Men Who Want Change is a podcast all about healthy masculinity and how, as men, we can navigate the modern world showing up as best we can. In today's episode, we dive into the world of elite sport, chatting to Alex McCarthy, goalkeeper at Southampton. Now, he and I have known each other for a while now. Our kids went to the same school, and I've always known him as a super approachable, level-headed guy. And as you'll see in this episode, I think that's really served him well in his career. He's able to emotionally regulate in a volatile environment, and at the same time, help him through some really challenging times. We talk about that, we talk about his career, and we talk about the environment that young footballers are growing up in now, and how he can help change that perspective as a role model to young players and young fans. So if you're interested in what it takes to be a high-end athlete and how you might want to show up as a man in that environment, please listen in and see what Alex has to say. Alex, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on.
And I should say off the back, actually, thanks for squeezing this in, because I know you've got pre-season starting tomorrow, is it?
Tomorrow, yeah, back in tomorrow. I think we've had 4.5, 5 weeks off at a push. So yeah, it's come around quickly.
What kind of person are you? Is this going to be a shock to the system, or have you been keeping your eye in?
When I was younger, I didn't really do a lot in the summer because I felt like I could get away with it. But the older you get, obviously, a bit more experience, you realise how hard pre-season is, so you do have to do your stuff in the off-season. Yeah. So I've kept myself fit. Obviously, I've been away on holiday and that, but I've looked after myself. So I'm hoping to go back in reasonable shape. Okay. But obviously, pre-season is there to get fit as well.
Yeah. All right, I'll drop you a message in a couple of days to see how realistic that was.
We'll see how it is after tomorrow's testing day.
Yeah, okay, nice. And I'll come on to what it's like, being a footballer and what are some of the misconceptions that people might have. But it'd be good to understand a bit about your background. And was sport always a big part of your childhood? Did you see this being a path for you?
Yeah, sport was it was a big part of my childhood. I come from a sporty family. My mum liked sport, my dad liked sport. But growing up, I lived in Indonesia for about 4 or 5 years because my dad was an engineer and worked overseas. So we obviously went to a international school out there, but I was playing stuff like baseball and all different types of sports. It was only till we came back here when I was I think it was about 6 or 7. Yeah. And I started picking up little bits, but it was nothing serious. Yeah. And then I probably got to about, I'd say 12, 13. I started obviously playing football, cricket, golf. Obviously trying to fit that in with school as well was tough, but obviously it's what you do. And then obviously the older I got, I had to sort of choose between cricket, golf and football. Yeah. I was massively into my cricket at an early age. I was playing for the county. Okay. I loved my golf. I still love my golf, as you know. Yeah. But yeah, it got to the age where I had to sort of decide what I wanted to do. And I ended up going down the football route.
And family-wise, was that a decision you made by yourself, or did you have pressure, positive or otherwise, from anywhere to choose football?
I felt like I did always have pressure because as much as I wanted to do well, my dad wanted me to do well. Yeah. But I like that sort of pressure. I think everyone needs that bit of pressure. But when it came to the stage where I had to pick what I wanted to do, I obviously had full support from my mum and dad. Yeah. And I just felt like I enjoyed football a lot more. I was probably better at it than I was cricket and golf. Watching golf now on TV and that, I always think, I'd love to be out there playing in that. But there's so many good golfers out there. Like, it's so hard to make it as a golfer. I've got a few friends that tried making it and they didn't succeed, and they're like such good golfers, a lot better than me. Yeah. Obviously, it's completely down to you in golf as well. It's a single sport, whereas football is a team sport. Yeah. Some days you can get carried a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy with the decision I made in the end.
Yeah, it hasn't gone too badly.
It hasn't gone too bad. I'm 35 and I'm still playing.
Yeah, exactly. And growing up, who were your role models, sporting or otherwise?
It'd have to be, because my whole family supported Chelsea. My dad used to take me to Chelsea games. Okay. So it'd have to be Petr Cech. Yeah. I always sort of try to base my game around him. Yeah. With the same sort of structure and stature, and obviously going to watch games and that, I wanted to sort of base my game on him. he's obviously had an unbelievable career. He won everything you could win. He's got the records in the Premier League for most clean sheets, etc., etc. So yeah, growing up, Petr Cech was definitely one of my idols, and another one would probably be Schmeichel.
Yeah. Okay.
He obviously won everything as well. Was a massive goalie, made massive saves at massive moments.
Yeah.
So yeah, they'd be my sort of two idols.
Did you think about them as men as well as like great goalkeepers? Like, did you think about how they showed up as athletes, as, you know, leaders, as cultural figures?
I didn't when I was younger. I just used to think they'd turn up on a Saturday and play the game and just produce performances like they did week in, week out. But the older I've gotten, obviously being involved in football for a longer amount of time, the amount of hard work, dedication that they would have put into getting the success that they've got in their careers is it's hats off to them, because doing it week in, week out like that in a team like that at the top of the table, fighting for trophies week in, week out, it mentally it must be, and obviously physically as well, but I'd say probably more so mentally, because of the expectations and everything. I think it's an unbelievable what they've done. But growing up as a kid, I just think, it's easy. You turn up, you play games, and that's it. But people who don't see the work that the lads put in off the field, away from it, it's inspiring.
Yeah. And that, I mean, I want to come on to a bit about life as a footballer. Like, as far as you can tell from inside the game, like, what do you think some of the biggest misconceptions are that people have about your job, your life, how it is?
I just think people in the outside world don't realise sort of how hard it is. Like, the number of people that try and make it as a footballer is so low, but they don't see the other side of the game. Obviously, they're quick to judge you on a weekend on performance levels, which is completely fine. That we're in the job we are, but the setbacks people get, the injuries, like dealing with that, dealing with maybe internal stuff like with your family. They don't see a lot of it. They just obviously expect you to turn up at a weekend and be a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But that's not life, is it?
Yeah.
That's not human. They do miss a lot of stuff, but at the end of the day, they pay their money to come on and watch their team perform, and they want to see the best possible results.
And growing up, like, how much of that were you aware of versus, I guess, just still trying to make it through the system, still trying to get your first contract?
Yeah, I think when you're younger, you're not aware of it at all. And obviously, as I've got older and stuff has progressed, you've got obviously social media was there a little bit sort of when I was younger, but it wasn't how it is now. You do get a lot of backlash from stuff like that. And it obviously depends on what sort of character you are as well. I'm not really someone that goes on social media, but I see younger lads in the dressing room before games, after games, constantly on social media. I think social media is good in some aspects, but obviously it can get out of hand, and I've seen it affect players as well.
Yeah. In terms of the constant feedback.
Yeah,
and the
constant feedback. Like lads are reading stuff before games and after games, and like even if you've had a bad game and that, they're still on there reading it, and I'm saying to them, you don't need to do that. And then obviously it does play in their mind, because then they might not perform to the levels the following week. So it is good in some aspects, but it's toxic as well in other aspects.
What sort of messages were you getting then as a young player coming up about success, masculinity, emotional control, whether overtly or, subconsciously?
I was lucky in my upbringing. My mum and dad were always close to me, and they sort of guided me in the right direction. I think you obviously see a lot of players come through the academies now that have sort of come from nothing, and they've got to where they've got to. So I admire them massively. But yeah, I think obviously it's changed over the years, and obviously the older we get, it's going to keep changing as well. But I think in terms of football, I think, what am I trying to say? They're a lot more sort of focused on the younger lads. I think at the start when I was coming through, it was almost sort of like a free fall. You could get away with this, you could get away with saying that, doing certain things around the training ground and that, but it's got a lot more sort of stricter in that respect.
In terms of what you can and can't get away with as a young player?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot more stricter now, and they monitor stuff a lot more.
So what were you, I mean, you've been at a few different clubs over the years. I guess there's pros and cons that come with that.
Yeah.
One being you've seen different environments, different managers. Like, is there a type of person that you've seen get the best out of young lads, older players? Like, what seems to resonate with athletes?
I think man management is, probably up there with one of the top 3 things a manager needs to have. And I've been under managers before where I don't think they've realised the ins and outs of some of the players they're looking after. So they could say something to one player and they'd just acknowledge it and get on with it, whereas other players they say the same thing to and it completely destroys their confidence and they almost sort of take a step back and go in their shell. I think the top managers, their man management is second to none, and I think that's the way you've got to be if you want to get the best out of your players. Everyone's different, aren't they? Then you need to know about your players and know the ins and outs of them, because at the end of the day you're judged on results. You want to maximise what you're getting out of your players.
And does that take into account also what you're saying earlier about, stuff going on at home or family life and having at least a sense of what players are putting up with there?
Yeah, completely. I heard, I won't mention names, but I heard a story a while ago. I think this happened to a player maybe 2 years ago. He was performing well. Obviously, something had happened in his family, and he took a dip in his performance. And the coaches were sort of chatting, and then one of his assistants said to him, "Have you spoke to him about his personal life, what's going on?" And he's like, "No." So obviously he went and spoke to him, like sat down with him, sort of had a bit of a heart-to-heart with him. Someone had passed away in his family, or that there was some sort of scenario going on. But he didn't really want to open up about it. And then obviously he spoke to him about it. Things got sorted out and that. But just from having that conversation, some managers won't have a conversation like that, and it just gets left, and the player it destroys the player. So I think it's so important to sort of know your players and speak about it, because it's better to get it out, everything out on the table, and then obviously a couple of weeks later he's back playing to the levels that he should be playing at.
Because that's one of the things, like, as a casual observer, like what you mentioned earlier, most people just expect a player to turn up, perform on a Saturday. You either watch the game or you see the highlights, and that's about all you see. But you have no idea what sort of emotional baggage that person's bringing into the game, or what they've just been wrestling with before kickoff.
Of course not. It is hard, and I think that's the thing that people sort of don't understand in the outside world. They think literally we're robots. We go to training, that's that. We go to the game, perform, that's that. Like there's more to life than just football. You've got your kids, you've got your wife, your mum and dad. There's other things that could be happening in that, but they just obviously expect you to turn up and perform. And if it was that easy, I think everyone would be doing it.
100%. I remember speaking to a footballer recently about, where he was going to go contract-wise, and he said, "Oh, well, this one's close to home and close to the family." And I think probably most people aren't factoring that in as something that's on their mind.
Well, that's stressful, especially if you have a family. You're coming towards the end of your contract. You're either looking for a new deal or you're getting bought by another club. It's not just easy to uplift your family and go elsewhere. You've got to think about your kids and your wife and that. Obviously, when I was younger, I went on loan a lot, so it was easy for me because I was on my own. I could just get up and go, sort of thing. But now, obviously, with my wife and 2 kids, it's a different story.
I should say that I spoke to my brother-in-law about your time at Ipswich, my hometown club. And he just wanted to apologise for the defenders in front of you, because he said it probably didn't make your life that easy.
It was a tough time down there, but it's part of being a young player. Obviously, I was young there. I was at Reading at the time, and I needed to go out and play games and gain experience. And that's obviously what I did. I enjoyed living down that part of the world at the time. But yeah, Ipswich have been on the rise since.
Yeah. No, it's a nice club. My fandom claim to fame is sitting behind the goal that Alan Armstrong scored in when we beat Inter Milan at home many moons ago. That was now. I'll come on to I guess how you show up, but I guess as we're talking about this stuff of family and what players bring into the game as well, like what's your sense of, I guess, the culture, and maybe it varies from club to club, around players talking to each other about this stuff? You know, is it seen as okay? Is it more of a macho environment where you keep this stuff to yourself? What's going on?
I don't know what it's like at other clubs, but at our club, it's a really nice club. It's a really family club. Everyone's sort of like nice to each other and everything. But you obviously get the different nationalities, and sort of the English lads are together, the Spanish, the French. They're sort of like, it is a bit divided. But everyone gets on. It's quite a young group, so I wouldn't say it gets spoken about a lot. More so with maybe the older players a bit more. But the younger sort of players sort of keep themselves to themselves a little bit more. And obviously you have that divide with the different nationalities. But it must be hard, because if I was to say go to France or Spain, like, it'd be hard, wouldn't it? Like trying to integrate with the French lad. If there was an English lad there, I'd obviously be drawn straight to him straight away.
Yeah, 100%.
So it is tough, but obviously there's a club psychologist there that the lads can speak to.
Is that used?
Yeah, it is used. It is used quite a bit. More so now. I think when I was coming through, it was sort of just starting up.
Yeah.
But I think as the game sort of progressed, it's used a lot more. Not just obviously in football, in everyday walk of life. But yeah, the lads use it. I think it's obviously each their own, isn't it? If you feel like you need it or not.
Yeah. What's the talk internally about looking after your mental health as a player, or balancing what's going on at home?
Yeah, it's massive. I think, especially with the young lads coming through. Obviously, sort of touching on social media and everything, it is massive. When I was probably 3 or 4 seasons in at Reading, I started using a psychologist, but I felt I got sort of pushed towards using one. It wasn't sort of completely my choice. As you know me, I'm quite a sort of level-headed guy.
Yeah.
I never get too sort of high, too low. But I thought I'd give it a go and see how it went. I enjoyed it, but I didn't feel like I got loads from it. I ended up just sort of feeling that I was saying stuff to sort of get out there as sort of quick as possible. I didn't really feel like I was taking much from it. But I think it's massive to have that sort of person you can talk to in a club. Because I know there are lads at the club that do use the lady that we've got there now. And it has changed players. Like I said, with the social media stuff, like when you're reading it, it must be hard for them. Like, you can't just turn the switch off.
Yeah.
And not sort of forget about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think having her around, and I know every club has one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's each their own.
Talking about like turning the switch off, how do you balance your sort of lifestyle and job with the kind of parent you want to be and husband you want to be, right? Like, I'm sure there are some things which are easier as a result of your job, some things that are harder. How does that all shake out for you?
It's not too bad. It's most of the days, I'd say 5. Yeah, most of the days I am completely fine. I can come away from training and sort of switch that off and know that I'm going home to Rach and the kids. But then you get days where you have a bad day at football, and she can tell I'm pissed as soon as I walk through the door. But she's really good at sort of judging the situation, and sort of will take care of the kids and that. More so, I'd say, if I was to play a game, like say the night before, I like to sort of have a bit of a routine. So I don't want to be up late with the kids doing this. Like, I just want to be relaxed and chill. That's why I quite like a lot of the lads like away games, because you're away from it all. You're in your hotel room. Yeah. You can just do exactly what you need to do. But I try to sort of switch off when I come out the training ground, because obviously the kids are at school now. Yeah. I only get that few hours with them, obviously, when they're home from school and that. So yeah, I feel like I can sort of monitor it quite well.
And what's the cadence of the season like then for you in terms of like when you're home, and I guess you might have a quote unquote normal routine with the kids in terms of pickups, drop-offs, being around at the weekend versus away, don't see them for a bit. Like paint a
so
picture
like
for us.
pre-season's a tough one because obviously we go away on tour for, it could be a week, 2 weeks, so I won't see the kids for that amount of time. Away games, we travel on a Friday. We obviously play Saturday. I'm not back till Saturday night. So there is a lot of time that I don't see them. We like Christmas Day, for instance. Sometimes, depending on the manager, we're in on Christmas Day training.
Yeah.
Whether that be the morning or the evening, it can vary. And obviously, if we have a away game on Boxing Day, we travel on Christmas Day as well.
Yeah.
So you do miss out on a lot of stuff, birthdays, but Rach is used to it now. Like it's part and parcel of football. You do get used to it. Obviously, when you're younger, it's a bit like, my mates are doing this, my mates are doing that. It's Christmas, like. But yeah, it's part and parcel of being a footballer. Like, they're the sacrifices you make.
Yeah, I remember because our daughters have shared birthday parties, and you know, Rachel's like, "Well, Alex is away this week, home that week, so we'll pick this date, and that's what we'll work around."
It's a nightmare trying to book stuff in advance and that, because we get a monthly schedule. It also depends on the manager you have as well. So I've had it before where you get a weekly schedule, so you just cannot like plan anything in advance. And that is frustrating. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
Do you think if your kids showed, you know, when they're a bit older, an interest in becoming footballers, you'd encourage it based on your experience?
Yeah, definitely. I sort of always reflect back to my dad. I wouldn't change anything on my upbringing with him because, like I said to you before, we lived abroad. He used to work abroad a lot, so I didn't have a great relationship with him as I was younger. When I was younger, he was working out in Belgium at the time, and he used to cycle to and from work to keep fit. He got knocked off his bike by a drunk driver. Long story short, he nearly got killed. Couldn't do that line of work anymore. Then he came back to England and started doing property development. Since that sort of moment, he completely changed. He was a lot more sort of mellow, and that was when I was sort of at the age where I was starting to I had to choose what I wanted to do. And he was so supportive, but he was strict as well. He made me make sort of the right sacrifices. And at the time, it was like, I don't want to be doing this. I want to be going out with my mates. I want to be doing that. But I look back now and like that, I wouldn't change anything. But he wasn't like that really pushy sort of parent, and I'd try and sort of be like that with Lake, guide them in the right direction, but not be too pushy. I see some parents, everyone can parent their kid how they want, but my son's obviously at a football club, and some of the parents you see there, the kids are only 7 years old. Let them have fun, enjoy it. Yeah, they're so pushy. Like it sort of takes the fun out of it for them.
Yeah.
So I've tried to model myself on the way my sort of dad brought me up. Obviously, good manners, speak to people, look them in the eyes, shake their hand, just the basic sort of stuff. But obviously, everyone has their own way of bringing their kids up.
Yeah, it's the youth football scene. My son's also playing for a local team. It's pretty gnarly. Like, my son seems to have landed in a good team, but I speak to some of the other players and they're like, "Oh yeah, like last week one of the dads choked out the referee over there," or you've got like 7-year-olds screaming at the referees and stuff.
It's like the parents are more involved than the kids.
Yeah,
but if he wanted to do football, I'd help him as much as I could and sort of guide him in the right direction. But I wouldn't be one of them parents that are like intense.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if that's because I've heard you say that you try not to be too high or too low emotionally, and like in doing my research of previous interviews and things, like everyone always seems to say you're not like the normal mentality for a goalkeeper in terms of that being your approach. Like, where does that come from, do you think?
Yeah, everyone always says that to me, especially when I've gone to a new club. They're like, "You're like the most normal goalkeeper we've ever met." I'm like, really? I'm just like a normal person. I think because a lot of goalkeepers you see are mental, like they're like just absolute like characters, like throwing themselves, like just don't care.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm a bit more sort of reserved. But I don't know. I've always been like it. I think my dad's like it, so maybe it comes from him. But I guess I'm lucky sort of to have that trait, because being in the industry that I am, you need to sort of, like I said, you don't want to be too high, you don't want to be too low when you've had a bad game. I'd sort of just try and stay in that zone, and I'm like it with everything really. I just at the end of the day, like, it is what it is. Like, if you can affect it. If you can't affect it, then you can't. So that's the sort of look I have on things.
Has that ever been an issue with managers?
It was a little bit as I was coming through the academy, because some people thought I didn't care.
Yeah.
And I used to get that a little bit, and I was always like, it's not that I don't care, it's just, this is the way I am. Like, I want to do the best, I want to be the best. But people who didn't know me sort of took it as if, oh, he doesn't care, he's all right. But it wasn't the case at all. I'm just a very relaxed guy, and Rachel tell you, when she tries to have arguments with me, it's just a waste of time.
Yeah, you just let it slide over. Yeah, and I guess for those players who thought you didn't care, or those managers, were they expecting the sort of effing and jeffing, screaming, shouting?
I think so. Yeah, and I'm never going to be that sort of person. Obviously, I'm different when I cross that line. I'll be obviously shouting this and that and organising and stuff like that. But you want to have a row with me, I'm not gonna have a row with you.
Yeah. Do you have to work at that at all, or is it just part of?
I think it's just part of my makeup. It's part of my dad's makeup. Like, I guess I am lucky to have that sort of trait. Because I see lots of players that are up here one minute, the next minute they're down here, they're up there. So yeah, I'm like it with everything. Obviously, I don't want to lose, and I am pissed off when I lose, but I don't really show a lot of emotion a lot of the time. Rachel tell you that.
Yeah. Sense to follow up with her maybe to get the other side of this stuff. Yeah, it is a sort of a polarizing thing, isn't it? Like, particularly with athletes and post-match interviews and that kind of stuff. Like, some people want and like the vitriol, and they expect that shows passion, whereas for other people, actually a more stoic response is a sign of emotional control and regulation.
Yeah, like, I've seen like players, like, when they score and after games, like, celebrating so hard and like kissing the badge, and then you get obviously all the fans like, oh, he loves the club, all this and that. But just because you don't celebrate or do the things that he's done, they're like, they don't see it. Oh, he doesn't love the club, he doesn't sort of care. But it's one game. I'll celebrate at the end of the season. But I just, like I said, I try to stay on that level.
Would you say that is celebrated or accepted within teams, within the locker room, or is there an expectation of how you should show up as a leader, man, footballer?
I think the older you get in football, managers do look for that experience and leadership. I've never been one of those people that sort of shouts and screams in the dressing room. I'd rather go up to just someone and have a conversation, because I think it works well with them as well. If you've got someone shouting, like, some lads will shout at me in the dressing room, but they know I can take it. Whereas if they shout at other lads, they just go more in their shell, and then they'll go out for the second half and not perform as well. So that's obviously knowing your teammates as well. But yeah, like I said, the older you get, the manager does look more so on that experience and what's going on, why we're not winning games, what's going on in the dressing room. So they do look for that feedback. I think it all comes with sort of age and experience.
Do you consciously take a role as a leader, someone with more experience?
Not really. Not really. My best mate at the club's club captain, and he is very good, to be fair. He speaks his mind, he's very honest, he's good with the young lads, he's good with everybody, he's fair. But there is a leadership group at the club as well, and it's not really something that I want to be involved in. It's not that I don't want to help the young lads or anything like that. Just I'd rather do it sort of off my own back when I feel like if there needs to be a chat with someone, or I need to talk to this person and that, I'll do it anyway. I didn't really want to be sort of tied in that sort of leadership group. There's a lot of meetings going on. There's a lot of discussions you have to do, and it's not really for me. That.
Yeah. What is a sign that you might need to have a chat with someone?
Just to, like if there's like maybe an altercation in the dressing room, the same thing comes up every time we have a crisis meeting about criticism on the training ground. The way you say it to someone and then they bite back, it's always like you need to be able to take criticism. But obviously it comes in how you say it to someone as well.
Yeah.
So that's always a common topic and that. But I'm quite happy to go and speak to someone and say this and say that. But I always give the leadership meetings a miss.
Yeah.
But they're important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess it's just curious, right? Like, you know, you're clearly very, as you said yourself and others have said about you, like very, very balanced. And that is a good, you know, leadership trait. But that doesn't necessarily mean you need to be forced down the path of, you know, doing those things. I want to like shift a little bit to talking about, you know, a potentially career-altering moment for you with the health scare that you had.
Yeah, I did say to you I was going to look into that. I can't actually remember the actual diagnosis of it.
Yeah.
But COVID, I had COVID once.
Yeah.
Didn't really have many sort of symptoms from it. Then I got it a second time. Didn't really have many symptoms of it. But at football, when we had COVID, we obviously had to spend X amount of days away from the training ground. And then once you're sort of all clear, you can come back in. But after it, they made you wear a sort of patch on your chest to monitor your heart. So I was wearing this patch on my chest, monitoring my heart, and then a few sort of symptoms come up on it. I didn't have any symptoms in myself, but it was obviously showing some stuff on there. So I had to go and have a few tests and this and that. And then they said to me I had to go and see a specialist in Southampton.
No reason why at this point.
They obviously said something's not right. But yeah, so I went to see the specialist in Southampton with the club doc and Rach. Literally got there and all sat down, and he's basically started reeling off all this stuff that was wrong with my heart. Basically saying this is like career ending. You need to stop everything what you're doing now. I know you do a lot of cycling, so you can't be out, and basically you can't be on your own anywhere. You need to get a defibrillator at home. And I was like, what? This is so out of the blue. So we sat there, had that meeting. That was that. Obviously, Rach is crying next to me, emotional. I think the doc was a bit taken back as well. But I still was like I am now. I was like, I want a second opinion. I took in what he was saying, but I didn't I thought this can't be right because I didn't have any symptoms.
You were still able to train as hard, do all the same cardio.
But obviously at that moment in time, I wasn't allowed to train because I had them things come up on my monitor I was wearing. So, like I said to you, Bailey, my daughter was born with a small hole in her heart. She used to see a specialist in London. I think it was maybe a week or 2 weeks later, my wife was taking her up to get checked, and she brought it up in conversation with him. And he knew one of his friends up there was like the leading heart surgeon in London or whatever it was.
Good to know.
So she brought it up with him and he said, I'll get an appointment with him. So then I said to the club doc at Southampton, I want a second opinion because I thought this is mental. Like I don't have any symptoms and this is all just happened so quickly. Anyway, I went and had a second opinion. He said, yes, there is an issue with it. But I think I can solve it. I was like, great. Like, that's obviously what I want to hear. Like the other guys told me it's career ending. He's like, yeah, I think I can sort it. So he monitored me. I ended up going with this guy, Dr. Sharma, and he ended up, I think he was monitoring. I didn't go into the training ground, I don't think, for about 3 or 4 months. I was just at home, like doing the school run.
Yeah.
It was mental. But obviously at this point, everyone sort of at football, apart from the doc and the manager and that, they didn't know what was going on with me.
And when was this? Like 2021,
I think it was around 2021. And obviously everyone outside of football just thinks I was injured.
Yeah.
So they don't have a clue what was going on. So anyway, they monitored me for, I think it was like 4 or 5 months or whatever, just monitoring my heart and that. And then I went in to have surgery where they did an ablation on my heart because when I did exercise, it was fine, but it was on the recovery. My heartbeat would sort of jump.
Right.
I don't know the exact technical terms of it.
I mean,
but
me neither.
basically he had to do an ablation, so he cut in through my groin, but I had to be awake for it, so that the heartbeat wouldn't sort of alter too much. So he cut in through my groin, put a tube up, did all electrical mapping of my heart, did the ablation. Then he had to give me adrenaline to speed my heartbeat up. It was mental.
What's an ablation?
Where they burn a part of your heart, an area of it,
Right.
if I'm correct.
Yeah.
But like it hurt because obviously I weren't allowed any anaesthetic or anything. So I was in there for about an hour and a half, had that done. All went well. I can't think how long after that I was back training.
Yeah.
But obviously, it was obviously a slight progression, and then yearly I have to go up for checks.
Okay.
And it's all been fine. But from saying it's career ending to all being sorted, even then I was like, just how I am now. I just think it is what it is. Like,
yeah.
I can only control what I can control.
And over what time frame did this play out? Like from getting that first diagnosis to being able to train again?
Well over a year.
Really?
Yeah.
That long?
Yeah, I'm sure it was well over a year. I got so fat because obviously I couldn't get my heart rate above 60 while they monitor it all and that, so I couldn't literally do anything.
Wow. What was that like for you, I guess, routine-wise? Because from the outside, I would imagine your routine is pretty strict.
Yeah, that was the hardest thing because I followed a routine for God knows how many years, and then I go from doing that to nothing. I couldn't do anything. I'd get up in the morning, I'd take the kids to school, end up going to fucking coffee run with my missus, doing this, doing that. It was literally, I was doing nothing, and it was so boring. And mentally, it was a bit like, because I'm used to being fit.
Yeah.
Not being able to do anything, you do feel sort of like a sort of slob, just slobbing about.
Were you still going into the club, or
not really? Because I wasn't allowed to do anything. I'd do weights a little bit here and there, but like I said, I couldn't get my heart rate up. So it was a tough period. Yeah, it was definitely a tough period, but yeah, I got through it.
Where were you at mentally during that? I mean, I've played out every year, so I guess there were lots of different points. But again, this balance that you have, what was coming up for you during this period?
I think the hardest thing for me was just not being able to do something that I've always sort of done. It was like I had it taken away from me for a while. So that was a bit sort of, I wouldn't say depressing, but obviously it's just a big change, isn't it? I'm used to following a schedule. I'm used to going into football, around all the banter and stuff like that. It was like I was sort of locked away for a little while. But I think it helps having good people around you. I have good people around me. They made it a lot easier for me. The club were excellent with me. But yeah, it was that was probably one of the hardest times I've had.
Could you golf?
I think I did a little bit. I didn't do it a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't a lot.
One saving grace might have been that you could get out and golf more, but maybe not, unless you had to cart around between holes. You didn't get your heart rate up.
I think I played a little bit, but I don't think it was a lot though.
What was going through your head in that period where you weren't sure if it was going to be career ending?
I hope my career and insurance pays. I hope I got the right one. I didn't really, to be honest, I didn't really think that far ahead. I'm one of them people that don't like to sort of think, oh, what if this, what if that? Like, I didn't want to think. I thought from hearing that news from obviously the second opinion, I just assumed I was going to be fine. So I'd be back in X amount of time in that. Rach was obviously a lot more worried than I was. But yeah, I was, as soon as I heard, I did have that bit of doubt with the first one. But then as soon as I heard the second opinion, and obviously who he treated as well, ex-players, I was like, I had full confidence I was getting back to where I was. Because the biggest thing for me was I had no symptoms.
Yeah.
And I was working out like so hard, like the training stress and everything like that. I was thinking, this can't be right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't look that far ahead. I was pretty certain I was going to be fine. But if I wasn't, then God knows where I'd be.
Yeah. Because what is your thought process? Like, it's a volatile career at the best of times.
Yeah.
Are you approaching it that, you'll just play as long as you choose to stop playing? Or is it in the back of your mind that someday it might be taken out of your hands?
No, I don't think... I'm 35 now. I think physically I feel very good.
Yeah.
obviously I'm a bit sore in my hips, but that's just everyday life anyway. But I feel like I'll be able to sort of stop playing on my sort of terms, unless I have a really bad injury now. Touch wood, I don't.
Touch wood, yeah.
I've had a few injuries and that, but overall, I feel like I'm in a good place. I've been in the game a long time now. I feel like I've done what I've wanted to do. So yeah, I think it'd be when I want to end it.
Yeah, and going through something like this hasn't shifted your mindset at all
with the heart stuff.
Yeah, shifted your mindset about how you think about your career, what comes in the next 1, 5, 10 years.
Not a little bit. Obviously, I appreciate everything a lot more. Having the kids, sort of trying to be as, I think I'm a positive person anyway, but trying to sort of let the kids have that as well. At times, I'm more probably hard on late than I am with Bailey, but I wouldn't say I'm a really hard parent anyway, because I do let them get a lot away with a lot of stuff. But yeah, I'd say from having that, it did change me a little bit. Yeah.
Rach is your wife, so I should have said from the start. Keep talking about Rach as your wife. Was she ever frustrated with you during this period that you weren't getting up and down? Because I can imagine it could be frustrating that you're like, well, you know, what will be, like super laissez-faire, which is, it feels like a massive strength for you.
Yeah.
But I can imagine if it's not meeting her or anyone where they're at, that could be frustrating.
She was excellent in that time, in that period. But obviously it was a massive change for her because she's used to obviously me not being there. Like,
you're suddenly home all the time.
And then I'm suddenly home all the time. It's a bit like, but I don't think we sort of argue I probably got on her nerves because I was there
just
constantly.
From being there,
it was probably a bit easier for her at times because I could always pick the kids up or do whatever and that. But it was obviously a massive change. But yeah, she was unbelievable in that time. She is now. But yeah, it's a part of my life that's happened, and we've moved on.
Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad, you're still playing on your terms.
I'm still here,
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to think about sort of, wrapping up the conversation, and the purpose of this podcast really is to reflect on men and masculinity and, how that intersects with different things, in the world, sport being one of them. And thinking about what young men as players are going through, like how has it, we've touched a bit on social media, but how has it changed for the young lads coming through today versus when you were coming through your career?
We've obviously done the social media side of stuff. I think physically, like the younger lads coming through now are so strong and powerful. I remember doing gym sessions and this and that when I was coming through and that, but I think obviously nutritionally now, recovery, everything, it's just sort of progressed along with the game. So yeah, there's a young lad at Southampton now. I think he's only about 18, but like if you were to look at him with his top off, like he's not like massive, but he's just so strong.
Yeah.
And a lot of the younger players are like that now. That it's almost like they're obviously a young boy in a man's body.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's progressed a lot massively definitely with the nutritional side of stuff, and the gym and recovery side.
And with the social media stuff, do you get a sense from the young lads that they get that it's harmful? Like, do they get that it's not perhaps the best thing to be doing is like searching for your own hashtag before or after games?
Yeah, I think so. But they still do it.
Yeah.
It's like they know they shouldn't be doing it, but they just sort of want to go on there and have a look to sort of prove themselves right. But then obviously you start seeing all these comments and whatever, and it does affect them. I think it wasn't last season, the season before, but one of the lads sort of closed his accounts down because he was just getting peppered the whole time. But it's always going to be like that. It's if anything, it's going to get worse. I think a few of the lads now have actual people that look after their accounts for them, so they're not actually looking at them too much. They've got someone managing them for them.
From a sort of like PR brand perspective.
Yeah.
Like
and I think that is probably better because obviously you're building your brand, but you're not obviously looking at all the rubbish that comes along with it.
Yeah, because it feels like, over the last 10, 15 years, as you've described, there's more of a discussion around mental health. Clubs have got people in-house that can help them. But it's sort of just trying to keep up with the stuff they're now exposed to that wasn't there before.
Yeah, there's so much exposed now. And some of the stuff you do see on there it's like mind-blowing.
What we're talking about.
Like the abuse that the lads get and that.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know why people do it, but they're easy targets at the end of the day, aren't they? And yeah.
Is there any dialogue about footballers as role models, whether at a club level or an individual level, how they want you to show up, and represent the club or yourself?
Yeah, the club always on that. They want you to sort of show yourself in the right way because obviously everyone's constantly looking in at you, whether it be on social media, out and about. You're signed to that club, you work for that club. They don't want any sort of bad press, and they want you to show yourself in the right way, I guess it is. So yeah.
Do you think about yourself individually as a role model to young lads coming through?
Yeah. At training, you get some of the young lads coming up to train with you. And I remember doing it as a young lad. It'd be a big thing going up to train with the first team.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was coming up, you'd get some of the more experienced lads like hammering the young lads. And I was like, fucking hell, is this what this is like?
Yeah.
But obviously as the game's evolved and that, it's completely the other way now. Like you get the young lads coming up, the senior boys are there making sure the young lads are all right.
Yeah.
They've got the arm around them. So yeah, I'm pleased it's sort of going more so that way because when I came through, it was the other way, and it was like, I don't want to go up and train with the older ones.
Yeah.
And that's not what you want when you're a young lad coming through.
No.
So yeah, we try and get the young lads obviously involved in everything that we do when they're with us, and just make them feel a part of it.
And is part of it showing them how to be a professional too, in terms of how you train, how you eat, how you show up?
The standards obviously change massively when they come up from the younger ones to the first team. They know they've got to be at it, otherwise they're going to be getting shouted at.
Yeah.
In the right way, of course.
Yeah.
And then like I said, the recovery side, eating is massive because quite a lot of the young lads would just eat rubbish because you can get away with it when you're younger.
Yeah.
I remember doing it when I was younger, eating this, eating that, drinking that. But the older you get, the more you sort of take notice of what you're doing.
So what advice would you give if you were, 17 again, starting to come through the rank, not just about like, on the pitch stuff and training, but also off the pitch stuff based on what you see serving players well and not being at the stage you're at in your career?
Young me, I think definitely I was professional, but I wasn't massively professional, as in the recovery side, nutritional side. I look at the game now and what some of the players do and that, and I think if I did that back then, would it given me that extra sort of 10%? So yeah, definitely the recovery. I'm not gonna lie, I still don't like the recovery side now, getting an ice bath and that, but I do it because I need to do it because I'm older. Like Pilates is massive now in football. I do a lot of that outside of football,
right,
for the flexibility and strength stuff. So I think that sort of prolonged my career a bit, I'd say. But I just think for every young kid coming through, I think every day's a new day. Get what you can out of it on the training pitch. You don't have to use everything that everyone says to you, but if you sort of take bits from that, you're giving yourself the best chance.
I keep thinking about this sort of gift you have of your emotional even keel, because in some ways it feels like you don't have to work at it, but in other ways, if more people could take a dose of that for themselves, it would serve them greatly. Like, do you think about how you can impart that on young lads as well?
That's a good question. I've not really thought about that. I don't know whether it's if it's something you can sort of work towards, or if it's just you brought up with it sort of thing, it's instilled in you. I do say to like the young lads, like, you always want to sort of be on that level. When you have an amazing game, great, but you don't want to be like so high that then you have a massive come down.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a hard one because I've had it all my time.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, I've never had to work on it or something. But I think it'd be interesting to see if other lads, probably more so younger ones, because I think the older ones are instilled in their ways anyway. But the younger ones just sort of having that.
Do you see it in your kids yet?
Not like.
I mean, it's hard when they're.
It is when they're young, isn't it? I always do say to them, if they've had an argument at school or whatever, I should just don't forget about it. Tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah.
Just get on with it. I am how I am now with the kids, but they do obviously, they're like, when the kids are non-stop at home and you're saying things 30 times, I do lose my temper with them, but they always know that I'm the more relaxed parent. But I'll try and sort of push them into that sort of thinking. And
I suppose that's the great thing about, earning a living the way you do, right? Like, sport is a real petri dish for that mindset, right? Like, you've got no choice but to move on from a bad performance or a bad day at training.
Yeah, being a goalkeeper as well, if you make a mistake, 99% of the time it ends in a goal.
Yeah.
If you're an outfield player, you can get away with it.
Yeah.
So it is the hardest position on the pitch because you're on your own as well.
Yeah.
So I think having that mindset and everything it helps massively.
Yeah, for sure. So just thinking about, your career to date and what's coming next, like, what are you proudest of on and off the pitch? What sticks out for you?
On the pitch would have to be making my England debut at Wembley against America. I can't remember actually what year that was. It's a while ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I think when you're growing up as a kid, you watch the World Cup, you watch England play, it was a big achievement for me. Funny enough, though, my mum and dad couldn't make it because they were away on holiday. But Rach and that come along.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd definitely be probably one of the proudest moments of my career. Away from football, 2 kids.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
They're good kids as well.
They change you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I never thought I'd be ready for kids. I think until you have your first, you never think you're going to be ready in that. But when they come along, they change your perspective on life, on things. So yeah, it'd have to be the kids.
What's changed for you, perspective-wise, then?
I just look at things a bit differently. Maybe certain things that I'd do, and I think about the kids. Maybe some stupid things I'd do when I was sort of younger and that, and then you think, I've got the kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do make you think about stuff a lot more, and everything I do now is for them.
Yeah.
So I want them to have sort of the upbringing that I had.
Yeah.
And sort of give them everything that they need.
Yeah, amazing. And whether it's your kids or maybe, one of the lads who's coming through the academy now, like, how would you like them to describe you as a role model when they're reflecting back on their career? Yeah,
no, I think I'd like to sort of be remembered as someone who would always be like sort of laughy and jokey around the group, but when I needed to be serious and things needed to get done, I'd like them to sort of think that was me. A team player. Showed up at the big moments and at the right times. Just a good person.
Yeah,
I think that's the main thing that I'd sort of instill in my kids, is I'd just be a good person.
Yeah. I mean, look, we were talking before we started around the world that our kids are going to grow up in and how confusing it is, but sometimes the answer can be as simple as like whatever's going on with AI or wars or jobs, like, just start by controlling yourself and being a good person.
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. Just respect people, treat people as you want to be treated, and the rest will follow.
Yeah, and I think that's why I was interested to speak to you too, because if I think about my son, grown up watching football, watching Match of the Day, watching the interviews, like, you know, the opportunity, because he doesn't want to hear this stuff from me.
No one wants to hear it from their dad.
Exactly. So, you know, we've got, and there's a lot of talk. Gareth Southgate was talking about young men having role models.
Yeah.
We've got role models, you know, trotting out every Saturday, 3:00, right? There's an opportunity to influence young lads. And I think if more of them heard a message of just start by being a good person, that
definitely
makes a difference.
Yeah, I think that's massive in every day of life.
Yeah.
When you meet people, good people, you want to be around them, you want to speak to them and that. But when you don't, I can, I'll move on.
Yeah, take it or leave it. All right. Well, look, Alex, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for being so open and honest.
No, thank you for having me on.
Is there anything else? Is there anything else you'd want to say, or any other messages for young men who might be listening?
No, I think we've sort of covered everything there. I think just sort of enjoy life.
Yeah.
I'm sat here now. I'm 35. I remember being a young kid in the dressing room and looking at the older boys, thinking, "God, you're old." And now I'm already there.
Yeah.
So life does go quickly. So just enjoy it.
Yeah. Nice. Good advice. All right. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks
Appreciate
very much, Tim.
Thank you.
Cheers.
So there you have it. That was Alex giving us the lowdown on what it takes to be a professional footballer. And look, if like me, you're a passive observer of the sport or you're an obsessive, I think there's a lot you can take from that. It's clearly a gift, the way he's able to control his emotions. And I think if more of us can take that into our day-to-day lives in terms of being balanced and using that as a way to show up as a good man, then we can take a lot from that. So, as always, if you enjoyed today's episode, please like, subscribe, and share it with a man who might need to hear it. Ultimately, that's how healthy masculinity is going to spread, show by show, message by message, and bringing others along with this journey too. So, thanks once again, work hard, be kind, and I will catch you in the next one.